pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This session of the Lincoln County Commission on December the 2nd, 2010 at 6 p.m. is now called to order. Members present: Donald C. Whitten, Clerk; Charles McCann, President; Charles Vance, Commissioner; Thomas Ramey, Jr., Commissioner. First thing on the agenda, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular session of the Lincoln County Commission meeting that was held on November the 18th, 2010 at 10 a.m.
So moved.
Being all yes votes, motion carries.
Next thing on the agenda is discussion of concern. A letter from Duval Volunteer Fire Department states, Dear County Commission, your support in the past has been greatly appreciated in helping us build our new training center. We are now in need of additional funds to complete the kitchen, restrooms, and ceiling throughout the facility. We estimate the final construction phase to cost $40,000. Any additional financial help that you could provide would greatly be appreciated. Thank you for your continued support in the construction of our new training center facility. Sincerely, Steve Hudson, Fire Chief.
Well, they had definitely built a nice building up there. Certainly needs to be finished. If you guys are agreeable, we could wait till the next time and have agree upon the amount, how much, find out maybe a little more about our budget. Give them, we need to help them out some way. I wouldn't know what to say how much.
Last year, we gave them $15,000 out of the training and education since it was for a training center.
And do we know how much money we have there now? For
$198,000.
training. Okay, we'll come and figure that the next meeting.
Next thing on the agenda, we have Steve Stewart with Appalachian Power here tonight. We'd like to talk to the commission.
Welcome.
Good evening. Brought a couple of handouts for
I
each
thought
other.
you'd bring maybe one of those things where you, Appalachian Power, well, we have all customers at reduction.
Well, I wish, because I'm one too. Contact information. My cell phone number's on there, by the way, so in case you need any information anytime about anything, please reach me.
Were you here last year?
Yeah, I have been. What I came to really talk to you about tonight and just give you a little update on the situation and problem we're having, and it seems to be quite a bit worse in Lincoln County than some of the northern counties, Lincoln and Logan and Mingo and Boone counties, is copper theft. We're experiencing a huge increase in the amount of copper theft that we're experiencing in our substations and then off our poles as well. And while it is a cost to the company, that's not the most important reason. It's really a public safety issue. Not only to our employees, but to the consumers too. And we did have a death in Raleigh County a couple months ago. A fellow was in the substation, and he and two other folks were stealing copper, and he actually got killed. And the two folks that were with him have been charged with first-degree murder because they were in the act of committing a felony. And you know, that's a terrible tragedy for, you know, to get in there and get a few dollars for copper that to buy drugs with is what we're hearing, that's what all the money that they get are going towards drugs. And it's just a matter of time before we get an employee killed too, because they go in these substations, they strip out all the copper grounds, and then when our employees come in, you know, they do their best to make sure that they're being safe and everything, but there's just so much you can do. Eventually somebody's going to be injured, and we have had instances where the fence around the substation has been slightly energized too, so, you know, a kid playing or something could actually get into that, and it could really be a problem.
Do you think it's worse down here just because it's more prevalent?
I think it's
People discover-
more rural, you know. I think the farther out the substations are and you know, more isolated, I think, you know, less chance of somebody seeing them, and less, you know, it takes longer for the law enforcement to get there, even if somebody does see them, you know, because they're farther out.
And in the systems you all operate, does anything signal that somebody's doing this kind of thing?
Not until they have an outage. I mean, we do, in some instances, we put security cameras in. Of course, that's the first thing they do is they come by and shoot that out. And then they go in and they cut the lock off the substation. They go in and then they take bolt cutters and start cutting off the large copper grounds.
And we've had some problems ourselves within our communication towers and things.
Oh, yeah.
like that.
And actually, they have, we've been successful at the legislature with working with the FOP and the 911 groups to make it a felony if they're inside the fence stealing that stuff. You know, if they're caught doing that, you know, it's a felony. But the problem is, it's just hard to catch them. The biggest, I guess, the best way to catch them is when they sell it to the copper dealers, the scrap dealers. And while they have requirements to keep records, keep photo IDs, and hold on to the material for so many days, most of them are honest and they do that. But you know, it doesn't take long. The thieves know the ones that'll take it on the slide, you know, and they're probably giving them less money for it too, because they're doing that. So it's just a tremendous problem. And if you guys can think of anything that we can do or anything you can do to help us, you know, it causes a lot of outages too for the residents of Lincoln County too. And also damage to equipment. They take the ground off these poles. Sometimes they'll climb a pole and cut it, drive down the road a quarter mile and cut it again, hook it to the bumper of a truck and drag it right off the pole, the grounds. And sometimes the power doesn't even go off, you know, and it'll operate like that, but it's very unstable and can cause equipment damage to TVs and microwaves, and air conditioners, things like that. So
Well, I think that, you know, public awareness, I guess we're somewhat aware, but I think more public awareness and what can citizens do and those kind of things certainly has
we do
to
have a
help.
reward too for the conviction and of anyone caught stealing our copper. If anyone turned them in, there's a $10,000 reward. So we don't get very many people to turn it in, because most of the time people know who's doing it. They're afraid to turn them in, afraid to get their house burned down or whatever.
Yeah.
The same thing that you all run into in a lot of other cases of crime. Just people are fearful to turn those people in.
And sometimes rightly so.
I'm sure, yeah, exactly. But if there's anything that we can do that you think that we can do to help, or if there's anything you think your sheriff department can do, we'll be glad to help. We'll be glad to come out and try to educate. Or
have you talked with the Crime Watch group people and things like that, or have they been talked to about this?
no, I have not, but I'll
Because
be
you know, they're
glad.
out and about, you know, watching for things anyway. You know, if they maybe
It'd be a good way for them to actually make some money towards, you know, operating, if they could get a conviction
We have a
like
real
that.
good active group of Crime Watch people, so it's.
Well, please give them my contact information, and I'll be glad to come talk to them, and I'll be glad to come back and talk to the sheriff. We've got some posters that actually have life-size pictures of the conductor that they're stealing, all the different ones that we use, kind of give them something to look for. They do go in. We have a full-time investigator that goes around and checks, but he works in 2 states, and, you know, they're, like I said, they're supposed to keep it for a period of time, but it's in and out, and so much, you know, it's just a matter of minutes, I'm sure, and we never get to see it. I'll take questions about any other issues that, or questions you have towards Appalachian Power.
Anyone in the audience have any questions, concerns? Mr. Stewart?
We've actually went as far